Grounded 2's early access release is in the rear view, but it is full steam ahead as we look to the first major content update and well beyond. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and we've got a peek into the future of Brookhollow Park and Grounded 2. If you haven't been paying attention to Grounded 2 and what's on the horizon for the co-op action survival game, you've missed quite a bit, including a roadmap and our first look at the fall update, which features a pretty monstrous new boss. The team at Obsidian Entertainment and Eidos Montreal sat down at Gamescom to not only talk about that first major update, but also reveal what's coming far into the future in the much larger winter update. So as we are wont to do, I wanted to dive into some of the new content and talk through it. Now, first and foremost, there is no firm release date on the Grounded 2 fall update. Technically, fall starts on September 22nd and runs all the way until December 21st, but my guess is that we're eyeing either a September or October release date, and I'll tell you why. If you look at the roadmap and really break down everything in the fall update, it's all designed around AXL. Now, if you've been living under a rock, you might have missed the Grounded 2 community coming together to figure out exactly what AXL is: a giant tarantula. In fact, the Obsidian team wasn't shy about teasing this, and with the power of some camera tools, we can actually see that the tipped over terrarium on the east side of Brookhollow Park is actually where AXL escaped from. Long story short, we've known AXL was coming, but now we get our first look at the hairy beast, and he is huge. The developers confirmed that AXL is about 3 times larger than a wolf spider and a whopping 16 times larger than our player character. That is an absolutely massive enemy, and as such, he'll have his own arena within Brookhollow Park. We've actually found this location in the far northwestern part of the map, beyond the hedges. Now, just like in the original Grounded, as the team develops assets, they begin to slowly add them into the main game, staging it for when the major update is released. But as a warning, things can always change. The location of AXL's lair is nestled in the top corner of the world right now, and while I don't suspect it will change, it could. That being said, this is a very unique arena, and under the cover of the hedgerow's dense foliage, we will be fighting AXL far away from the hustle and bustle of the park. The Obsidian team goes on to talk about how AXL is going to be a multi-phase encounter and the first park boss introduced in the game. I think we got a great glimpse at how they're approaching bosses overall during that masked stranger fight. Amongst the flurry of melee attacks were a combination of clearly telegraphed abilities, and it's those RPG elements I see them leaning into that I personally enjoy about the game. AXL, according to the team, will have multiple phases with unique abilities in each phase, and in the teased gameplay, we get a small taste for what those might be. Now, I do have to point out that massive boss fights historically are clunky. When you have an enemy that's larger than it should be, it's often very challenging to get the movement and animations to feel somewhat natural. With 8 legs, I don't know if that makes things easier or harder, but just in the teaser footage, you can see that fighting AXL isn't exactly a picture-perfect encounter. That being said, it's all going to depend on how you choose to fight the boss, either with a buggy or solo. The arena can clearly accommodate the full lineup of co-op players, but if you mix 4 players with 4 buggies, plus the boss, yeah, things might get a bit clunky. The boss fight itself is definitely exciting, but it's what we get after defeating AXL that I'm actually more interested in, and the developers gave us some insight there as well. Confirmed drops related to AXL include a great bow that the team says is comically large, a new type of storage chest that has even more space than the current offerings, and a throne. I'll be honest, I'm interested in all 3 of those, and as we expected, each patch and new bit of content is going to further the already impressive offering of weapons, armor, furniture, and more available in the game. AXL isn't the only thing coming to Grounded 2, and one thing the roadmap didn't reveal was which biome would be released next. We now know that answer: the community gardens. This will be added behind the statue in this general area here, but again, the world could always change as the team refines things. What we know so far is that the gardens will feature a few different and very unique elements. First are giant pumpkins, which they teased in some of the concept art. That obviously means new resources, which we'll be able to analyze, unlocking new items. They also confirmed a greenhouse, which they made a point of saying was humid. I'm not sure if this is going to be another sizzling area similar to the Melted Army Man point of interest by the fire pit, but the concept art clearly has hybrid desert and subtropical inspiration front and center, setting up some sort of environmental challenge. The community gardens will also feature a scarecrow, dense vegetation, and a vegetable garden. The team went on to talk about that last bit, saying it'll be unique and done in a similar way to the hedge maze. Quite frankly, this is a fantastic first step for the team, and although many in the community wanted them to expand south towards the pond, which would follow a similar development path as the first game, I think it makes a lot of sense to really flesh out the top part of the map and then move down to the larger, potentially more intense biomes. If we look back at the roadmap, we can see that the winter update will also include a few things like new insects such as the cricket and earwig, which just so happens to be my most despised insect on the planet. These two fit nicely into the community garden biome, so you can kind of see how the pieces are coming together. I also think it's worth calling out that the winter update includes new base defenses. I can easily see pumpkins and whatever resources they yield being the next sort of defensive building block in the game, similar to how acorns are now. That all tracks with the introduction of Tier 3 equipment, which will give us access to new resources, some of which are already in the game, like the sour candy and the pine cones. This winter update is going to be huge, but the team wasn't quite done yet. In the last few minutes of the interview, they talked about the next buggy coming to the game, the Ladybug Buggy, and while I was initially a little down on this being the next rideable companion, once they showed the concept art, I was all in. While not fully fleshed out yet, they teased the ability to place a turret on the buggy, turning a single rider mount into a co-op capable option. As someone that largely plays this game in co-op, I was immediately hooked. Now I fully expect the Ladybug to be slower than both the Red Soldier Ant and the Orb Weaver Spider, but if it brings different elements to the table, I can easily see it being a buggy you call in for certain scenarios, such as attacking a point of interest and clearing out enemy bugs with relative ease. I see the vision, and while it still wouldn't be my first choice, I'm glad they gave us a taste of how it could be implemented into the game. Like I said in the intro, there's a lot coming in Grounded 2, some of which could be very soon. I think AXL is going to be a fantastic first step towards the game's inevitable 1.0 launch, but that's only a teaser for a much larger winter update and beyond. Quite frankly, I think this first content update is coming very soon. The team wouldn't be out there talking about it so openly if it wasn't somewhat close to release, and I hope that happens because while Grounded 2 is a fantastic game, it needs that constant injection of new content to keep it relevant, especially with a survival community that moves on from games relatively quickly. Either way, Livid and I are excited to continue following this game, so as always, if you appreciate the work that goes into making these videos, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing. We'll have more Grounded 2 in your feed soon, so keep it right here and never miss a thing. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching and play on.